When did you realize you adopted an evil child? I was terrified of Eliza when I first met her at the foster care center. She had a long white dress like she was the girl from The Ring. The social worker told me not to worry, that she was creative and quiet and loved to draw. What they didn't tell me was about her sister. I walked into the playroom expecting to find a shy little girl coloring alone. Instead, I found Eliza sitting at a small table with two chairs across from each other. She had 2 cups of pretend tea set out and was moving back and forth between the chairs having a full conversation. When she saw me, she smiled and pointed to the empty chair. This is Carissa. She's my twin sister. The social worker pulled me aside and whispered that Eliza had an imaginary friend, which was common for kids who'd been through trauma. But something wasn't right here. She'd been in 3 different homes already because foster parents found her behavior disturbing. I thought they were being dramatic. Kids have imaginary friends all the time, right? During our second visit, Eliza drew me a picture of her family. 2 identical girls holding hands under a rainbow. She colored one girl's dress wink and the other one's black. Carissa likes pink better, she explained while carefully staying inside the lines. When I asked where Carissa was now, Eliza just pointed to the empty space beside her and said, she's always here. The third visit got stranger. Eliza was playing on the swings when she suddenly stopped and stared at the empty swing next to her. Her face went pale and she started crying. Carissa's stuck. She can't breathe. She grabbed at the chains frantically trying to help someone who wasn't there. The social worker had to calm her down while I stood there feeling helpless. Despite the red flags, I couldn't shake the feeling that Eliza needed me. Maybe it was the way she held my hand when we walked to the cafeteria, or how she saved half her sandwich for Carissa. There was something broken in this little girl that made me want to fix her. So I started the adoption process. The home visits began, and that's when things escalated. Eliza would set 2 places at the dinner table and get upset when I tried to remove Carissa's plate. She'd leave space in her bed for her sister and wake up screaming about Carissa being cold. Once I found her in the bathroom at 3 in the morning holding a towel under the faucet. Carissa needs help washing the red off, she said. The towel was soaking wet, but there was nothing on it. I tried everything to understand. Child psychologists said it was severe trauma manifesting as visual hallucinations. Some thought it might be early onset schizophrenia. Others suggested it was an elaborate coping mechanism. But Eliza insisted Carissa was real and got frustrated when I couldn't see her. The breaking point came 6 months into the placement. Eliza was taking a bath and I heard her talking to Carissa like always. But then the talking turned to screaming. I ran in to find her holding her own head underwater. She was drowning herself, kicking and splashing the water, but she was still drowning herself. When I pulled her up, she was gasping and crying. Carissa made me do it. She wants me to come with her. I held her shaking body wrapped in a towel while she sobbed into my shoulder. That night, I sat outside her door listening to her whisper apologies to the empty darkness. I'm sorry, Carissa. I didn't mean to. Please don't be mad. Over and over until her throat became sore. The next morning, I called the social worker ready to admit defeat. I loved Eliza, but I was terrified for her safety. Maybe she needed more help than I could give. Maybe another family would be better equipped. The social worker asked me to wait 1 more week while they processed some paperwork they'd found. That week, Eliza seemed calmer. She still talked to Carissa, but the conversations were quieter. She drew pictures of them playing in clouds instead of on Earth. When I tucked her in, she'd whisper, Carissa says you're a good mommy. It broke my heart because I felt like I was failing them both. The day before the final adoption hearing, the social worker called me in for an emergency meeting. She had a manila folder on her desk and her face was pale. We found Eliza's original birth records. There's something you need to know. She slid the folder across the desk, shaking her hands. Inside were hospital records from 7 years ago. Twin pregnancy, complications during delivery, baby A's umbilical cord wrapped around baby B's neck. Only 1 survivor. I stared at the papers while the words blurred together. Eliza hadn't strangled her sister on purpose. It was a tragic accident in the womb, but somehow part of her remembered. Somehow she knew Carissa had been real. The social worker spoke softly. The previous foster families were never told. We just found these records in storage. Now you understand why she sees her. I thought about Eliza at home setting 2 places at the table, saving half her sandwich, holding space for a sister who should have been there. The adoption went through the next day. I never told Eliza what I knew, but now, when she talks to Carissa, I try to respond differently. I set the extra plate. I leave space in the bed. I let her love the sister she never got to meet.